A superb performance from Madrid in Motion, who take the lead going into GCL round 2, but with 11 only out of 32 riders clear and 11 teams having a rail down, taking them to 4 penalties. It talks about just how tight things are going to be tomorrow, because with all of these teams on 4 penalties, each and every single one of them have the opportunity to take away championship points from the Berlin Eagles, from the Stockholm Hearts, from Shanghai Swans. And on a day like this where so many teams are bunched together, it means that even more so, GCL round 2 is going to be thrilling. It is going to be exhilarating, because these teams are going to make it very difficult for the championship contenders. A reminder, no double clears in GCL round 1. It has been an intriguing day set up by Uliano Vizani, a day that saw no double clears, as you mentioned, 11 teams on 4, and a rather surprise finish for Madrid in Motion, who make an incredibly good comeback following that elimination in round 1 last week. What a response from Angelica Augustin Zanotelli and Mark Macaulay. Clear from Augustin Zanotelli on Kalinka, and then Mark Macaulay on 4, giving Madrid in Motion, keeping them on an overnight score now of 4 penalties. Mark Macaulay caught up with us following his performance.
Both of our horses jumped very well today, I thought. Angelica's horse jumped fantastic from what I saw of it, and my mare felt very good. A small fault at the end of the course, probably a little bit my own fault, but overall I'm very happy with her.
So what happened?
I think maybe I tried to help her a little bit too much myself. I think often in this sport, the less we do as riders, sometimes the better. And I often say that, but then today I tried to do too much for her. I tried to almost carry her across that oxer coming into the double, and I think it took away from her jump a little bit, and she had the back bar down. So probably my own fault today. But you live and learn.
Can we say the courses of Uliano Vizani are always a little bit surprising? Not when you walk the course, but when you're riding?
Yeah, well, Uliano's a very clever course builder. I mean, he's building at these shows week in, week out with this level of riders. So he really knows what he has to do to get the right result without doing anything too extreme or too difficult for the horses. You always see with his courses that there are faults a little bit everywhere in the course. So it's our job as riders to try and figure out what he's thinking and where he's putting the difficulties.
4 penalties from Mark Macaulay and a clear from Angelica Augustin Zanotelli in a very good time puts Madrid in Motion in pole position going into Global Champions League round 2 tomorrow. Hamburg Giants, in fact, find themselves in a really strong position as well. A 4 from Kevin Jochems and a clear from Jur Frieling makes them one of those 11 teams on a score of 4. Jur Frieling actually joining us live now to have a catch-up. Jur, thank you very much for your time today. Good performance, lovely response from Hamburg Giants. How are you feeling?
Yeah, thank you. Really good. The horses jumped really good. Kevin rode good. Came a little bit close in the combination. It was pity, but happy.
Talk to us about that double combination, the Global Champions League double. It proved to be very tricky today. Did it jump the way it walked?
Yeah, it was more difficult than we thought in the beginning. Uliano built it quite difficult. Between was quite short, so we want to come in slowly. And yeah, maybe Kevin was a little bit deep and too slowly on the first one, and he got a fault. Yeah, I added a little bit on the other combination. I had to adjust my plan. I want to make 6, but it's getting too long and make 7 strides. And Cum Laude jumped the great round. He helped me really good on the combination. So we are really happy today with the result.
And yet we spoke to Munaim Dani at the start of the afternoon. He told us that there's still a chance for the Hamburg Giants to get into the top 4 as one of the teams on 4 penalties today. Are you confident come tomorrow you can make up good ground? Is top 4 still alive?
Yeah, I think it's still alive. It's what he said. We started really good, then a few shows were not so good, and now everything looks bright again, and we have to go look forwards. The horses are in good shape. We have a good group. The mentality is good, so we never give up.
Well, Yerfeeling, thank you very much for your time. Well done on a good performance this weekend, or today at least. We'll see you in GCL round 2. Yerfeeling and the Hamburg Giants, one of the many teams on 4 penalties overnight. 4 from Kevin Jochims and a clear from Yerfeeling, putting together a really, really strong performance. Now, speaking of strong performances, Rome Gladiators were outstanding in Valkenswaard and continue to deliver that good form this weekend on their home ground. Beth Underhill jumping first for the team. A single rail for Beth, bringing her home on 4 penalties. And then Nina Malave jumping exceptionally well. The young rider continuing to show superb talent, jumping a clear today, keeping the Rome Gladiators on a score of 4. But many would argue what is happening now and want to know with the championship story as we see Stockholm Hearts powered by H&M and Berlin Eagles powered by Fundis Sport. Throughout the rest of these remaining 3 events, we'll be going head-to-head at the end of every single afternoon. So, Stockholm Hearts, second out the gate. Remember, no Marlon Bayard-Jonsson today. Lily Keenan jumping first for the team, getting caught up in that Global Champions League double, as so many did. She came home on 4 penalties, and then Peter Fredriksson makes his return to the Global Champions League, makes his return to his team, and on Christian K, making sure that he delivers a clear and keeps the Stockholm Hearts on a score of 4 penalties. That then put the pressure on the Berlin Eagles, who came out a few rounds later and knew that they had to then stay within touching distance of the Stockholm Hearts. Unfortunately, it was not a perfect round. Ludger Biederbaum and Miller first out for the team, and a fault for them. 4 penalties for this wonderful combination. No such luck for the double clear that we saw in Valkenswaard. So Christian Kukuk then followed on Mumbai. And much like Ludger Biederbaum, 4 penalties coming his way. It takes the team to 8. And now they find themselves 4 penalties behind Stockholm Hearts. And all of a sudden now there is an early slight advantage to the Stockholm Hearts going into round 2 tomorrow. But as you mentioned, 11 teams on 4 means that there are still so many opportunities for the teams in and around Stockholm Hearts and Berlin Eagles to take away valuable championship points. Perhaps some of those points going the way of Madrid in motion. Angelica Augustin Zanotelli joining us on the show today. Angelica, I see a big smile on your face, deservedly so. Superb performance from Madrid in motion. Pole position for round 2. How does that feel?
Yeah, we are very happy. Both horses jumped really well. My one felt great, so I'm really happy.
Are you surprised by the time that was set by Madrid in motion? A lot of teams on 4, but you were the fastest of those 4 teams. Was that expected?
Both of our horses are very fast naturally. We both did the inside turns everywhere, so we were expecting to get a pretty good time.
After such a great start to the season, so many podiums, Angelica, Madrid in motion have had a bit of a wobble. Strong performance today. Is there a revival maybe for Madrid in motion, a late charge of championship points at the end of the year?
Yeah, it's very important for us to be as good as possible, get as many points as possible, because we have a few spots that we would need to climb up.
Well, we look forward to seeing you be the last team out the gate tomorrow. Best of luck to Madrid in motion. They are in pole position going into Global Champions League round 2. Angelica Augustin Zanotelli, one of the clears today. Just 11 out of the 32 riders going clear today. And Mark McCauley with a rail down. 4 penalties for him gives Madrid in motion that lead, as we mentioned. Now, the Shanghai Swans, who find themselves in 3rd place and quite comfortable in 3rd place as well on the overall championship standings. Started with Christian Allman and Mandato. He too delivered a very, very good clear. Such good form for Christian Allman in 2022. And unfortunately for Marlon Zanotelli, who felt as if there was going to be a double clear potentially for the Shanghai Swans, saw 2 late rails go down. And then all of a sudden 8 penalties for Zanotelli puts the Shanghai Swans just slightly further back than what they would have liked. We caught up with Marlon Zanotelli after his round.
I think my horse jumped actually good. Let it drift him a bit to the left there, and I ended up paying for 2 faults. I don't think we deserved 2 down for the way he was jumping, but okay, it's the result now. Of course, a bit disappointed.
So what happened exactly?
He on the 7 strides getting down to the double, he got a little bit behind me, and then that's why I think came the fault from the back reel of the Oxer. And then drifting a bit to the left already, going out and touch it behind the Verco. That was the one actually I didn't expect it for. But okay, it is definitely a disappointing result for the team and everything. And Christian, his horse jumped fantastic. Did it again, Christian round, clear round. So try to fight still on the fight.
So what's the plan for tomorrow?
We're going to discuss, of course. I change horse, normally jumping in Diamond tomorrow. And then I think Christian is jumping his black one, solid gold. And I don't know which one John is riding at. So I think we're going to sit together and decide.
He is a far better rider than those 8 penalties suggest, but already giving us some insight for tomorrow. That Diamond then will come in for Global Champions League round 2. Now, Prague Lions are involved in this intriguing GCL Super Cup semi-final fight. In fact, they remain in 4th place ahead of Valkenswaard, Paris and Rome. Now, Peter de Vos, first man out for the team. Again, that Global Champions League double combination proving to be a telling factor. 4 penalties for de Vos. But then Niels Bruynseels on Matador coming out and jumping clear, keeping the team on 4 penalties, making them one of those handful of teams. And you can see the little mini celebration from Niels Bruynseels with that clear. He knows how incredibly important it is, and Prague Lions will now start tomorrow on those 4 penalties. Niels Bruynseels spoke to GCTV following that clear run on Matador.
So how felt the course for you today?
Very good. It's quite new horse on this level. It's the second time he jumps league competition, and I have to say every show is getting better and better, so I'm really happy with him.
So strong lineup this weekend for Prague Lions. How are the energy levels?
Yeah, we have to keep the head up. It's a bit pressure to say. We have in our group from the team, we have a few horses injured, not fit, and so we are a little bit struggling. But okay, head up, and we put everybody together and we go for it.
You had a little debrief with Peter. What did you say to each other?
Before the class or after the class?
After the class?
After the class, yeah, we were happy because both young horses on this level, not to take always our top horses, because we have to, if we want to keep going, we have to switch horses. It's really important, so tactics is playing a role. But we are happy.
And so they should be. The hosts of the GC playoffs at the end of the year trying their best to stay inside the top 4. They want to come out in those semi-finals in Prague later on this year. And as it stands now, good performance from Prague in particular because of what their opponents around them are doing. Paris Panthers were not as successful as the Prague Lions today. I'll show you what happened in Global Champions League round 1 today for the Panthers. Dara Kenny coming out first and jumping clear. Solid performance from him. And again, you can see the celebration of what it means for him to go on and jump clear. And then Ben Meyer, after jumping Issy in Valkenswaard, had now decided to bring Feltic HB back into the mix. And unfortunately for the Olympic gold medalist, one fault eventually became 2 faults. That took him to 8 penalties. And all of a sudden now, they find themselves on 8 going into Global Champions League round 2. With the teams around them, Rome Gladiators on 4, Prague Lions on 4. That 8 of Paris Panthers may well prove quite costly as they try their best to get back into the conversation of the Global Champions League Super Cup semi-final spots. Now, one of the best performances of the afternoon belongs to the Istanbul Sultans and belongs to Omar Karaevli. What a strong performance from the Sultans rider, stopping the clock at 67.93 seconds. So few clears today, and for the Istanbul Sultans man to deliver that clear at such a strong time shows you what a strong performance it was from him. Unfortunately, FECI, he jumped with 8 penalties, and it puts the Istanbul Sultans on an overnight score of 8. And it means that despite the really good opening round from Omar Karaevli, they still find themselves on 4 penalties, or on 8 penalties, I beg your pardon. The London Knights were the final team to come out the gate this afternoon, and they too are one of the many teams on 4 penalties overnight. Mike Kawai joins us live now. Mike, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Strong performance from London Knights, one of the many teams on 4. Are you happy?
Yeah, of course, I'm happy. No, for myself, I'm not happy about the results, actually. Of course, some did amazing clear, so they helps the teams to be in still like top, I don't know which place we are now, in a good place. But yeah, we're still in a good position to fight for tomorrow in the podium. So we be positive and fight for tomorrow.
Talk to us about what Uliana Vidzani made for the riders today. That double combination seems to be a big talking point. How did it ride for you?
Sorry, which double combination?
The Global Champions League double that had many riders having faults.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the course designer is one of the best. So you know, he know what is going to be difficult, and then yeah, in the end, a lot of people had faults over there. Yeah, it's difficult. I think today was difficult enough, not killing, but the people had a lot of one down and stuff. So I think he did a good job, I think.
Well, Mike, London Knights in a good position for tomorrow. We wish you well. We hope to see you on the podium.
Yeah, thank you very much. We fight for it. Thank you.
Mike Kawai and the London Knights, one of the many teams on 4 penalties tomorrow that will be chasing championship points. And I remind you, potentially, crucially, stealing some of those championship points away, potentially, from the Berlin Eagles and from the Stockholm Hearts. Now, Beth Underhill for the Rome Gladiators jumped today in 4 penalties, but they still put in a really strong performance thanks to that clear from Nina Maleve. We caught up with Beth after her round.
It was great. I just was so excited to be here in Rome and to be part of the Rome Gladiators on our home turf is extra special. For Nina to go in and, you know, right after me and put a clean round on the board was super fantastic. We needed that. I thought she rode beautifully. My horse, it was her first competition after the World Championships. She jumped amazing. It felt like a little unlucky rail that she had. I thought we were there fine. She left the ground fine. I think she just misread it and actually thought it was a vertical. But the rest, she jumped in spectacular fashion, so I couldn't be more pleased.
So what went wrong exactly?
She had the back rail of the skinny oxer, which was, you know, I haven't even seen that come down of all the horses I watched. So it was a little bit unlucky. I thought that we met it the way we wanted, and as she left the ground, she felt very comfortable. But I think she misread it a little bit and jumped it as a vertical and just made a small mistake behind it with a toe. But, you know, the rest, she jumped beautifully. The meat of the course, she stayed with me in the turns. I was really pleased with her.
So from a top 4 battle perspective, the Rome Gladiators actually might come out of this weekend in a really, really strong position because, as we mentioned, Prague Lions now on 4 penalties overnight, Paris Panthers on 8 penalties overnight. And you might be asking, where are Valkenswaard United in that question? Well, it was a tough opening day for the defending champions here in 2022. Valkenswaard United opening up with Laura Kraut, who was the first to come out for the team today. And unfortunately for Laura Kraut, we saw 2 fences going down, 8 penalties going her way, and it was not a good performance for her, and unfortunately for Gilles Thomas, who had an 8 as well. It means that Valkenswaard United now find themselves on 16, but that is how it stands now, and take a look at that. A handful of teams on 4 penalties. There's 6 of the teams on 4. It means that there is a huge amount of pressure on the teams now that then find themselves trying to take away those championship points. Madrid Emotion, Rome Gladiators, Stockholm Hearts, Hamburg Giants, London Knights and the Prague Lions all staying in the mix for Global Champions League Round 2. So stay with us here on GCTV and we will bring you absolutely everything as we get closer and closer to the climax of the Rome event here on Global Champions League Round 2 tomorrow, live on GCTV. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.